One of the most iconic characters in history is Superman. His presence has shaped nearly every corner of popular media since his debut in 1938. From comic books and animation to television and film, Superman has served not only as a fictional hero but also as a reflection of cultural values, political tensions, and social struggles. Created by two young sons of immigrants, his story has long carried the weight of identity, belonging, and justice. This is in my essay where I like to talk about and analyze film, television, and more. And this is Superman. Superman was created in 1938 by two young men from Cleveland, Ohio. Writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster both were the sons of Jewish immigrants, and their character emerged at a time of global uncertainty, shaped by anxieties of the Great Depression and the rise of the authoritarian regimes around the world. They envisioned Superman as a defender of the downtrodden and a symbol of hope. Initially appearing in Action Comics #1, he was not yet the polished icon later generations would recognize. He was a rougher, more direct figure, one who stood up to corrupt businessmen, abusive partners, and war profiteers. In those early years, Superman's stories reflected the creator's own backgrounds. As Jewish Americans in a society where xenophobia and economic instability were widespread, Siegel and Shuster crafted a character who was both an outsider and a protector. Superman's Kryptonian origin, sent from a dying planet and raised in a humble Kansas town, reflected a dual identity familiar to many children of immigrants. He was both alien and American, a person navigating multiple worlds. As Superman moved from comics into newspaper strips, radio dramas, and serials, he began to evolve. The 1940s radio show introduced important elements of his mythos and used the character for social advocacy. One of the most striking examples was the 1946 storyline, Clan of the Fiery Cross, in which Superman took on a hate group modeled on the Ku Klux Klan. The writers worked closely with activist Stetson Kennedy, and the series exposed the group's rituals and language, undercutting its power in the public eye. In film, Superman first appeared in a series of theatrical animated shorts produced by Fleischer Studios beginning in 1941. These cartoons showcased cutting-edge animation and brought Superman's abilities to the screen in a way that hadn't been possible before. While brief, they helped solidify his visual language and introduce him to audiences beyond comics and radio. The post-war period brought major shifts. With the rise of suburbia and conservative values, Superman was redefined as a figure of order and security. In the 1950s television show Adventures of Superman, starring George Reeves, he became a reassuring presence in American households. The stories were often simple, with an emphasis on civic responsibility and non-violent resolution. Yet even in this more sanitized version, the idea remained: Superman was someone who could help when others couldn't. During the Cold War, Superman was shaped by the political climate. He was often used as a metaphor for American strength, especially in contrast to the Soviet Union. Yet comics also began to explore more personal and philosophical questions about identity and responsibility. In the 1960s and 70s, writers such as Elliot S. Magin and Cary Bates began deepening Superman's emotional life, complicating his dual identity and the challenges he faced both as Clark Kent and Kal-El. In the 1978 Superman film, directed by Richard Donner, was a landmark moment. It cast Christopher Reeve, whose portrayal balanced the gentle awkwardness of Clark Kent with the moral confidence of Superman. The film was a major production effort that treated the material with seriousness and respect. The score by John Williams, the use of then groundbreaking effects, and a focus on character-driven storytelling set a standard for the superhero films to come. Superman has often reflected the fears and hopes of his time. In the 1980s, the comic book writers such as John Byrne reimagined the character in the Man of Steel reboot. Byrne stripped away some of the more fantastical elements and returned Superman to a more human scale. Clark Kent became the primary identity rather than a disguise. This reorientation underscored the idea that Superman's values were shaped not by his powers but by his upbringing. In the 1990s, Superman faced death at the hands of Doomsday. The death of Superman arc in 1992 was one of the most widely publicized storylines in comic book history. While some saw it as a publicity stunt, the story emphasized Superman's role as a stabilizing force in his world. His temporary absence allowed writers to explore what his existence meant to the people around him. Animation played a key role in shaping Superman for younger generations. Superman the Animated Series, developed by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, built on the success of Batman the Animated Series. It presented a thoughtful, modern Superman who could be challenged physically and emotionally. The show balanced action with ethical dilemmas and contributed to a larger animated universe that shaped how superheroes were perceived on television. Superman has always operated at the intersection of fantasy and reality. In times of political unrest or cultural shifts, he has been used to comment on the world outside the page. During the 2000s, writers like Grant Morrison and Mark Waid explored Superman's ideals in relation to modern cynicism and globalization. These stories question how a figure rooted in optimism could exist in a world increasingly marked by skepticism and moral gray areas. Film adaptations continue to struggle with the character's tone. Superman Returns in 2006 paid homage to Donner's film but was criticized for its lack of urgency. In contrast, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel reimagined Superman in a world shaped by trauma and fear. The movie emphasized alienation, and its somber tone sparked debate over how the character should be portrayed in the 21st century. The idea of Superman as a symbol for the oppressed has remained central. His immigrant origin and double identity have been examined through new lenses. Scholars, writers, and fans have explored how Superman speaks to experiences of marginalization, belonging, and displacement. For LGBTQ+, people of color, and immigrants, Superman represents the idea that someone different can still be needed or loved. Writers have used Superman to explore resistance to authoritarianism and inequality. From his earliest appearances smashing exploitative landlords to modern-day stories criticizing surveillance states or media manipulation, Superman has often stood in opposition to those who misuse power. While he is often associated with authority, his best stories show him questioning it and siding with those without it. Throughout the years, Superman's morality has remained a point of interest. Unlike anti-heroes or more violent figures, he often chooses to act within ethical constraints, even when it's harder. This has made him a challenge to write at times, but also a valuable figure in discussions about heroism, conscience, and restraint. His relationships have also deepened over time. Lois Lane was a caricature of the damsel trope, has evolved into a sharp, courageous journalist. Superman has also inspired countless other heroes. His popularity paved the way for the development of the superhero genre as a whole. Characters like Captain America, Spider-Man, and even non-power figures like Batman were shaped by the standard he set. He introduced the idea of using great power for the common good, not personal gain. Culturally, Superman exists as both a character and a mirror. He reflects back society's ideals and anxieties. In times of crisis, he is often written as a protector of hope. In quieter times, he becomes a figure of contemplation. His flexibility as a narrative tool is part of why he continues to appear in so many forms. The visual language of Superman, his costume, his flight, his chest, has remained largely stable. The S-shield is among the most recognizable symbols in pop culture. Over time, it has been interpreted not just as his initial, but as a Kryptonian symbol for hope. This dual meaning has helped the character stay relevant while allowing reinterpretation. Despite periodic dips in popularity, Superman remains a fixture in media. Television shows like Smallville explore his younger years and personal doubts. More recently, Superman and Lois has focused on him as a father and husband, showing a more grounded version of the character while still engaging with superhero storytelling. His influence is felt in politics and art. Debates about Superman often reflect larger questions about identity, morality, and leadership. He has been used to support different viewpoints, but at his core he represents the possibility of using strength with compassion and restraint against those who abuse power. The superhero as a concept has often pushed back against oligarchs and fascism. Superman's early stories saw him directly challenging exploitation, inequality, and corruption. He was not designed as a guardian of the status quo, but as someone who could push back when laws failed to protect the vulnerable. He signifies the struggle and fight when the law and order go against the vast majority. His real struggles don't appear when he faces strong enemies, they appear when the morality and justice are questioned, and he has to answer those questions on his own in order to save people. Across the decades, writers and artists like Mark Wolfman, Kurt Busiek, Jeff Loeb, Alex Ross, and many others have contributed to expanding Superman's world and voice. They've brought their own cultural backgrounds, experiences, and beliefs into their storytelling, adding nuance and variety to the character without losing his core identity. Superman matters because he continues to invite questions rather than easy answers. His stories ask what it means to do good, what it means to belong, and what kind of strength the world really needs. He is not perfect, and his challenges, both external and internal, make him worth revisiting again and again. For many, Superman is a reminder that empathy and courage do not require superpowers. His commitment to justice and his understanding of humanity offer a counterpoint to the darker portrayals of power found elsewhere. Through comics, film, animation, and television, he continues to offer a version of heroism that chooses hope over fear. This was everything for today, and thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment if you liked the video, and see you next time.